Hi, it's Chris Reeve here. I'm the head of communications at the One Question. Welcome to the first ever episode of Culture Crowd. Today, it gives me great pleasure to introduce my guest, James, who is the managing director of Indigo Swan. We're going to have a proper deep dive today into his exceptional company culture. James, without further ado, take it away. Can you tell us just a little bit more about yourself and Indigo Swan, and most importantly, how you help people?
Yeah, absolutely. Firstly, hi Chris. Very, very privileged to be your first guest on your first episode, first and foremost. So thank you for having me on, and I look forward to this, and I look forward to seeing future episodes as well. As you said, I'm James, managing director of Indigo Swan. We are award-winning energy consultancy based in Norwich, in the heart of Norfolk. So ultimately, I always say our business is a bit of a 25-75% equation. 25% is we are ultimately brokers. I think there's no hiding behind that. We are here to help our clients find the best possible energy rate that they can. If we can find them savings, great. If we can't, then it's about making sure they've got all the information they need to see why increases are in the marketplace and things like that. And then 75% of it for me, and probably more importantly, is the aftercare service and the role that our client services team play, which is helping them with any billing issues they may have, validating those bills, the rollout of any smart meters, efficiencies, and all that sort of stuff. So ultimately, we're hopefully an outsourced energy team for the businesses that we work with, whether it be in the property sector, education sector, or a pub or a restaurant, whatever it may be. That's what we do.
Fantastic. And a bit about yourself, James. Where have you come from? Where did you start? What's your background?
I've been at Indigo Swan since the day dot. So we are celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year, which is very exciting. Founded by my cousin, Emily Groves, who will be well known, I'm sure, to a lot of your listeners and viewers. Became managing director this year. So it's been a very exciting first year doing that after becoming a director last year. I've pretty much done every job at Indigo Swan. That's what I say to people. I have worked in pretty much every job here, which is nice. Because it's given me a great amount of experience in all the different types of roles here, from selling through to client services, through to processes, through to being innovative, etc. I've had the opportunity to do a little bit of everything, so it's given me a good amount of experience to sort of step into this role this year and hopefully take things forward from where Emily left it. Before that, I worked in finance during the recession, which was great fun. And one of the things I said to myself was that whatever I do next after finance, I need to do something that people are always going to want or people are always going to need. We got to the recession in 2008, 2009. People didn't need loans. People weren't necessarily buying houses. But for me, people always need to turn the lights on. So with Indigo Swan being an energy consultancy, I'm like, well, whatever happens, whether it be the government or another recession, whatever may happen in the future, people are still going to need to hit that light switch. So for me, it's about building that, sustainable business for the future of Indigo Swan, really.
Fantastic. Now, I hear certainly locally to Norwich, Norfolk, a lot of positive press around Indigo Swan, the various awards you've won, etc. And obviously, there's this whole kind of culture buzzword at the moment that's going on. A lot of people are now starting to tune into the sheer importance of it and how important it is to really commit to it.
Yeah.
How did you begin your process of creating such a culture whereby you're literally winning awards for that? How did you start?
I think when we started 10 years ago, there's probably 4 or 5 of us. It started as a family business, and I think that's an important point to make because the majority of us that worked here at the time were family. We had a few non-family members, but they were technically family because they started the business with us back then 10 years ago. And I think that was a great starting point to have because all those things that come with family members, the care, the want for each other to do well, the want to make a difference, all that sort of stuff started from day one. Emily, when she started the company, was very clear that she wanted to have a company that had a safe habitat for people to come and work in. I've always said we wanted to start a business that we were proud of, that was a nice place for people to come to work, that people felt safe to be themselves, that we celebrate individuality as one of our values. People feel they can come here and be themselves. And, like I say, since the day we started, that's always been the motivation. And over time, up to 22 people now, I think recruitment's played a large part in it. I think a lot of people are quick to recruit on a skill set and not necessarily on somebody's personality. For me, it's always been a case of you can teach people the job to do, You can't necessarily teach the way that they are as a person and the personality. And for us, we've always said we want swans, you know, and people always say, what's a swan? And, you know, that's hard to explain what a swan is. But ultimately, it's somebody that's happy to embrace who they are as a person. It's happy to celebrate that they are individual, that they will have common traits with everyone that we work with, and that they want the company to do the best possible job that we can do, regardless of being an energy consultant. And we're all collaborative and we all innovate together. We all wake up in the morning and go, do you know what? I want to go to work today.
That is incredible. That's so good. And what I'm really interested, we'll go deeper into how that's developed over time. Yeah. But honestly, James, now, if you take your swan glasses off, not literally, how long has it taken you to develop this culture? Because you hear a lot of people where they're like, oh yeah, we tried that last year and we gave it a spin for 6 months and it didn't work. How long has it taken you to literally get to that point where you're winning accolades for such an exceptional company culture?
Honestly, Chris, it's still going on. It's fantastic. It's constant. It's constant. You know, like people respect Indigo Swan for the culture that we have. You know, what they see, you know, is what we put out there on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook or whatever else it may be, and the other swans they meet. I've always said, if you meet one of the 22 swans, I want them to say the same thing. And I want them to be authentically saying what we do, and they all do, and that's lovely to see. But we don't rest on your laurels. You know, every day is something different. Every year we need to have another innovation. Every year we need to do something a little bit better for the team to make them more engaged. I think for me, it's just a continuous journey. You know, we've done a lot of good things over our time, but then this year, for example, we added a little bit of flexi time. You know, we'd stayed clear of flexi time for quite a long time. This year, I was like, well, we need our core hours, but outside of those core hours, people can sort of come and go as they please. And that's worked really nicely. We launched Lunch and Learns this year. So we buy lunch for everybody once a month, and we do something where, you know, we can teach them about something. So Hayley, our head of finance, did a session on how you can budget your own personal finances. We had somebody come in to do well-being linked to social media and how you have to be careful with that. And then tomorrow we are sitting down and making Christmas wreaths. So, you know, it's all different variations of things that we do. But for me, we didn't get to a point and go, oh, we've done it, we've nailed it. We've nailed company culture. We are the gurus of company culture. You know, we've done a very good job. We've recruited well. We've built a culture that people buy into, that is lived by every one of the members of our team. Yeah. But for myself and the rest of the senior management team and the rest of the swans, really, it's continuous. You know, I'm going into 2020 and I'm like, right, what's next? What's the next thing we need to do to keep that engagement at the level it is at?
It's so refreshing to hear someone of your stature in terms of that employee experience to say that it's an ongoing process. It's not just a tick box exercise, James. And you speak there of the length of time and the fact that it's never really a done thing. You're just constantly chipping away all the time. How have you, as a business leader, as an MD yourself, how have you actually done the doing? How have you maintained it? What sort of conversations are you having with your employees? How often are you talking to them? You know, is it an open forum? You know, what sort of challenges are involved in that?
Yeah, well, there's first and foremost for me as managing director or any other leadership roles I've played within Indigo Swan, it's always about being myself. I am who I am. I've always said I'm good at what I'm good at, and I'm not good at what I'm not good at. And it's, you know, for us as a company, I think what we've been very, very good at is embracing people who are good at certain things. There's not one person, whether it be me now or Emily before or anyone else on the senior management team, who says we have the answers to everything. It's a case of being a collaborative effort. You know, I'm lucky that I've got Hayley, who's much better at finance than me. I'm lucky that I've got Andy, who's much better at processes than me. And I've got Jake, who's much better at marketing than me. You know, so it's embracing those different people around you to create a culture that we have of, you know, sort of continuous improvement and collaboration. As far as getting to know the guys and the team, and for me, I'm a huge fan, and I've talked about it before, but a huge fan of a book called Radical Candor by a lady called Kim Scott. If people haven't read it, I'd highly recommend it. But she talks about how you should care for your staff personally and challenge them directly. Okay. And for me, that's what it's all about. It's like, you should absolutely care for the people that work for you. You want to know something about them. You know, who are their husbands, who are their wives, who are their kids, what they like doing in their spare time. And when I say that, I don't mean you have to go to the pub and have a pint with them every week. That's it's just having a little bit of an interest in what they do. What does their life look like outside of Indigo Swan, outside these four walls? And if you can build those relations over time, to then sit down with them and have, you know, as we all have to, difficult conversations or performance isn't going well, or we've made a mistake here, or whatever, they become easy conversations. And I don't mean that arrogantly, but that they do, because you've built that foundation, you've built that relationship with someone that you know them to a point that you can sit down and go, look, this just ain't good. Let's not beat around the bush. This just hasn't been a great day.
Yeah, for sure.
Performance. But if you haven't built that personal relationship with somebody, you will just be the boss. You will just be the person that's forever telling them off. You'll just be the person that's always giving them bad news. And then at the same time, you have to make sure that you take that time to tell them the good stuff. You have to make sure you take the time to tell them what they've done well, and praise them. And then over the last probably year and a bit, we introduced a new process, which is called a 135.
Okay.
So 1 being the ultimate vision for that person. What is their 2-year vision? Where would they like to be, both inside and outside Indigo Swan? It's broken down into 3 sections, one of which is personal. And off that personal vision, they have 5 goals. And those 5 goals, whilst they're personal goals, they are included within their quarterly appraisal. So we don't just talk about their 5 Indigo Swan goals. We don't just talk about their 5 professional development goals. We also talk about their 5 personal goals.
That's incredible.
And what can we do? What can we do to help you? I sat down with someone last year to talk to them through the process of buying a house. We had a lady who worked for us that I talk about a lot, that one of her personal goals that she wanted to work in the education sector. So she was a part-time member of staff here. We moved a few of her shifts around so she could go and do the relevant training. And then when she came and told me and Tom, who was a line manager, that she was leaving because she got a job in a school, a lot of companies be like, oh no, someone's leaving. This is terrible. We were actually able to celebrate. We were actually able to go, yes, nailed it.
Brilliant. Well done.
Hit your personal target.
Yes.
And so by including those personal goals within 10 professional goals, it just opens the conversation up to learn a lot more about each member of your team, and to help them with things outside of these 4 walls that will only allow them to perform better when they're inside these 4 walls. So those sort of things make a huge difference to the culture, and a huge difference to the performance of the company.
That is a brilliant. I've never even heard of that terminology actually. 135. So that's really interesting. That's a really good takeaway for our audience listening today. James, obviously, things are all rosy. You say we talk about LinkedIn and Facebook and what we show on the outside. And without you divulging completely, what sort of top level challenges have you faced along the way? Because people are people at the end of the day, aren't they? And you've got such a good transparency and such a good vibe, I'd say, actually, just about Indigo Swan as a whole. Certainly from the outside, my position looking in. What's been your kind of your biggest struggle? Because obviously you can't just say, right, we're now doing this, go and make it happen. Is that okay? Can we dive a bit deeper into that?
No, absolutely, yeah. Like I say, and that's like I put a LinkedIn post the other day. It's like people will see what we've achieved this year. We've broken every record Indigo has ever set. That's come with stresses. That comes with headaches. That's come with issues. For me, it's like, as a senior management team this year, obviously it's been probably the first full year we've sort of had where our founder has not necessarily been day to day in the operation. That's putting an element of pressure on us as a senior management team to go and perform and to continuously improve and to make sure things don't go backwards. On one side, that's been a motivator and that's a driver. On the other side, it's like, oh my God, please don't mess this up. Please don't start going backwards now. On the flip side, we have done very, very well, but that's come with a lot of hard work. That's come with days where you're like, oh, I don't know if we can get any better. I don't know if we can improve. I always say that new business is extremely difficult. And that's difficult for a lot of businesses, but new business within our sector with 6,000 companies like us in the UK, you have to pick your battles. You really do. And that's a consistent day in, day out struggle of we win new business, and I'm happy to say that we do. But that's why I suppose retaining what we have is so important to us. Because you are going to win some new business, but maybe not as much as you'd like. And have we won as much as we want this year? No. Have we won the most business we want? New business? Yes. But, it's probably under the expectation we set for ourselves at the beginning of the year. So going to next year, it's like, right, okay, well, what do we need to change next year to hit those new business targets, to make sure that we're growing at the rate we want to? And I think in any SME business or we're not a startup now, but any smaller business that is looking to grow, you set these ambitious growth targets. You do, because you want to grow. You want to continuously grow.
Of course,
Sometimes you will fall a little bit short. You will sometimes fall a little bit short. We're pretty much bang on where we wanted to be this year. But if you said to me in March, April, where would I want to be? I probably want to be surpassing where we are now. But at the same time, we absolutely have to celebrate the hard work and the achievement that's come with everything that we've done this year. But like I say, yeah, some days it's like, right, where's the next bit of new business going to come from? Why has this issue come up? What are we going to do about this? And, like I say, that's just day to day in any business, really, to be fair. But the one thing we always want to make sure we do is absolutely celebrate the success and celebrate the wins that we have.
I was going to say, so speaking of celebrating success, in terms of the nice stuff, rewards, incentives, what sort of things do you have in place for your team at Indigo Swan currently?
I think for us, it's like we have our sort of Swan thank you budget, if I could call it that.
Okay.
To be honest, we used to do very strategic things. So it'd be like, you hit target of the month, you all go for lunch. You have your quarterly social, the usual stuff. Whereas this year, for me, I like the element of surprise. Jamie, our marketing manager, said to me the other day, it's like, you want to surprise and delight customers. You absolutely, of course, you want to surprise and delight customers. That's what everyone's looking to achieve. But actually, at the same time, I want to surprise and delight the team. I want to surprise and delight the Swans. So this year, we did a lot more sort of ad hoc stuff, like, I'd come in the morning and go, right, we're going to get breakfast today, or I'd go, right, we're going to go out and get lunch today, or right, actually, let's close up an hour early and go to the pub. Whatever it might be. But it was a bit more ad hoc, because I think that, to a certain extent, that means more. Because you're just like, it's been a good week. Let's go and do this. Or, we've hit target with 5 days to go. So let's not wait to the end of the month. Let's just go and do something now. I think for me, we obviously, as most companies do, have an element of a budget put aside for that sort of stuff. For me, it's using it a bit more spontaneously, as and when you feel there's a time to do it. Also, it's great. Sometimes the office will be a bit. People will be having a bad day. It's like, oh, more than 50% of the office are on a bit of a down day today. What can we do? Oh, do you know what? Yeah, let's go and do something. Let's go and buy a few things. Go and do whatever. So, yeah, for me, it's celebrating success in that way. We do all the traditional things, the quarterly socials. With the awards, the nice thing about the awards is what I'll always try to do is I'll always try to invite people that wouldn't necessarily normally go to those sort of things.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Certain members of the team, myself included, will have to go. I do enjoy it, so it's good to me. But it's nice to invite, like when we went to the EDP Awards this year and won the award there, it was lovely to take Jenny and Andrew, who one works in the account management team, one works in the client services team. Neither of them had ever been to an award show before. Neither of them had to dress up. It's a black tie function. So for them to dress up and then, for us to win, for them to come onto stage with us when we won, for them to be that was in the EDP, it means a huge amount to those people as much as it means to us, but to the guys that work here day to day who wouldn't want to go networking, for example. Networking is not their go-to. That is an uncomfortable situation for them. But for them to, want to come and celebrate the success and come to something like that, for me, that's one of the nicest things that we do every year. If we are shortlisted, lucky enough to be shortlisted for an award, is take a couple of members of the team who wouldn't normally do that sort of thing.
That's absolutely brilliant, James, because I couldn't agree more, because people talk about people in the engine room, the frontline staff, and there's a lot of talk, but sometimes not enough action. And for you guys to actually be implementing that and saying, no, you know what, go, come along with us, have some fun, take the praise. I think it's absolutely brilliant. So good for you, James. Well, last question, if you don't mind. This has been brilliant so far. We might have a round two of this.
That's all right.
What are your two top tips for a managing director that's watching or listening to this now to build, but also to maintain an exceptional company culture like yours at Indigo Swan?
Absolutely. So first one for me is 100% embrace the excellence that surrounds you.
Okay.
100%. Like I said to you earlier in this interview, it's like, I know my strengths. I know the areas I want to develop as a managing director. I suppose another side tip is always look to learn, always look to develop. Don't, rest on your laurels. But, whilst you're learning and developing the areas that you may not be your strengths, embrace the excellence that surrounds you. For me, like I said earlier, it's like, Jamie is an amazing marketing manager for us. For me, it's embracing that and going, do you know what? Give some autonomy. Go do it. Love it. Check in, run things by me by all means. But you're the expert. This is
sure.
What you're
empowering people. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, and empower people to do that. But I think a lot of managers directors can caught up on the fact that they feel they should be the person, they should be the one who makes all the decisions, they should be the one that's great at everything. And for me, it's not about that. It's like we all want to learn, we all want to develop, but at the same time, whilst you're doing that and you're concentrating on doing that, just absolutely embrace the excellence that surrounds you and do what you can with that to improve that excellence. Because if you can have a senior leadership team that is firing on all cylinders in different areas, you're going to have a very, very successful company. Second tip for me is it comes back to the caring about the people on a personal level massively. Don't be somebody that sits in an office. You might not have a choice because that might be the way the office is laid out. But for me, we're lucky we have an open plan office. I like that. I like sitting within the team.
It's the open door policy that they speak about, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's super important.
It's so important. You've got to be visual. You've got to be visual. You've got to be there. As a managing director, for me, it's like important. So I'm here every day. I don't have to be, don't get me wrong, but I am normally the first person here. But to a certain extent, I do that on purpose because by being here first, every time someone walks through the door, morning, how you doing? You can just have those little chats, and it's very. I'm very conscious of that, and I'm very conscious to get to know the guys. I'm lucky to a certain extent that for I would say 75% of the guys I've had an opportunity to be their direct line manager at some point. For the other 25% I haven't because they're the company. But for me, I've still made the effort to build an element of a personal relationship with those guys, so they know who they are, understand what their motivations are, understand what they like to do out of here. So we can have that relationship, we can build that, and for me, it's a case of being visual, being present, making sure you're leading the company in the right direction, but then at the same time embracing and empowering the guys around you to do the best possible job they can do.
I love those two tips. They are absolutely killer, James. Thank you so much. And I think to touch on the present thing, being visual, I really love that. I think there's a lot of people out there that are buzzing around. They're going to meetings, they're going to conferences, and they feel like they're ticking the box on email or another platform. But there's nothing like that face-to-face conversation and showing that you genuinely care. Going back to your tip earlier. Not just asking a question, on email or something like that. So I think that's really important. So honestly, thank you so much. And James, that is it for this session. Thanks so much for sharing all of your knowledge, all your expertise. Thank you. Honestly, we'll definitely have to get you on again soon. And I recommend anyone that's watching and listening this right now, please go and check out Indigo Swan. Go and check out James. Go and connect with James on LinkedIn. And of course, for any of your energy saving things, head right that way. Head right that way. But thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to be featured on Culture Crowd in a future interview, please feel free to get in contact. We are at T1QHQ on Twitter and Instagram. And if you'd like to contact me directly, I'm Chris at the1question.com. Have a fantastic day. Cheers.